Hello everybody, welcome to the Analyst by Vajiram and Ravi dated 18th May 2026, where we will try to comprehensively analyze 7 articles in 2 different sections, along with your daily mains answer writing program. In the analysis part, we will first have a comprehensive discussion with respect to the sports ecosystem in India in light of the recent reports of sports fund being redirected to bureaucratic recreation. Then in the second article, we will have a discussion with respect to the judicial pendency and backlog of cases for which the strength of Supreme Court has been increased from 33 to 37. Then in the principal intersection, we will have a discussion with respect to 5 different articles from the special perspective of your upcoming UPSC Prelims exam 2026. Coming to the very first topic of today's discussion. Now, it is regarding sports ecosystem in India. India is home to 1.4 billion population, which in itself is approximately 20% of the entire world's population. Yet our sporting achievements are limited to very few disciplines, be it cricket, some bit of hockey till 1980s, and recently the athletics led by Neeraj Chopra in javelin throw. Some bit of achievement have been gained in badminton, chess, and a little bit of other sports. However, it is limited to very few. We hardly see any participation in track and field events, in swimming, in a lot of other events in the Olympics. Now, in lieu of all this, we have got reports. There are recent reports where the sports funds have been diverted for bureaucratic recreational facilities. And this diversion of fund for bureaucratic recreational facilities, that means their clubs and their amenities, it raises a concern over the governance and priorities in India's sports ecosystem. That what our priorities are in a nation when already we are stressed for funds. Our people, they do not get enough funds to build a good infrastructure, to get good institutions for their sporting, you can say, trainings. At that time, we are getting reports of diversion of funds for bureaucratic recreational purpose. So in lieu of all this, we will today see the sports ecosystem within our country in India. Now, why it is important for us? It is part of GS paper 2, social justice and government policies and governance. Then it is also part of GS paper 3 about economic aspects of sports. That's why it becomes important for you guys. Now, what is the sports ecosystem? First, we have to understand that sports ecosystem does not simply mean a person playing a sports. It means an entire institution behind that. There are organizations which organize sports, which provide infrastructure, which also include infrastructure means your equipments, safety, ground, the medical support, all these things, they are part of infrastructure. Then comes the policies, how serious the government is regarding any sports or particular entire sporting system in a particular country. And then the athletes and the support system. Support system includes their coaches and other, let's say, physiotherapists and other medical practitioners, or you can say the data analyst working with the athletes. Mostly right now, data analysts, they are working with the cricket players. Clear? They collectively promote sporting excellence within any discipline. Clear? Now, why this also becomes important is that India is preparing to host Olympics in 2036. That means 10 years from now, India is aiming to host Olympics, and most probably it will be in Ahmedabad. Right now, we are also bidding for 2030 Commonwealth Games, CWG, in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. We are right now bidding for Commonwealth Games, just like we had Commonwealth Games in Delhi 2010. There was massive corruption at that time. Let's see what happens this time. Similarly, we are bidding for this Commonwealth Game in 23 and then for Olympics in 2036. Now, one good thing of hosting these games will be that a new infrastructure will be created for our players. New facilities will be there. Now, the diversification of infrastructure will be there. Right now, you can say majority of the infrastructure is situated in Delhi. A lot of infrastructure is there in Odisha and in some southern states. There's very less infrastructure in the western states. So they will also get a lot of good infrastructure. So players will get new facilities to train, new world-class amenities to work on. So this will be some benefits. However, it does take a lot of cost to host a particular sporting event. And since one more issue with India is that we are not a true sports loving country. We love our players, we are fan of our players, but we are not truly sports fan. That means if some other players are good, some other good players are playing, we hardly go to watch their matches. We just go to watch Indian match where Indian players are playing. So this is also an issue. So how much of revenue will be collected through ticketing and all those always remains an issue while hosting an event. And also India aspires to become the top 10 sporting nation by 2036 and top 5 by 2047. Modi ji has said that we'll be Viksit Bharat by 2047. One component of Viksit Bharat is also sports. That we have to be among the top, not only in economy, military, other things, in sports also. Clear? So India's sports ecosystem right now is like, it is a state subject. Within the 7th schedule, sports is a state subject. However, the center does promote a lot of activities. They do come out with a lot of schemes, government policies to support the states in their implementation. Central government, through its various schemes, supplement the efforts of the state government. Sports generate revenue and raise countries' soft power. As I have said, a developed nation, a truly world power has to be good in sports also. That's exactly what China does. Look at the rise of China economically, and at the same time, look at the rise of China in the Olympic sports. They are competing neck to neck with the USA right now in the Olympic sports, and sometimes beating them also in the overall medal tally. Clear? Despite these benefits, only around 6% of India's population participate in sports. So that also shows that our culture is not deeply enrooted into the sports. Very few people actively participate in the sports. One reason for this also is the lack of infrastructure, lack of security to the person pursuing sports. There is always a dilemma between choosing sports or education. And because the country is not well developed, there is not enough security, the parent sends their children towards the education path. Clear? And when we compare it, the participation rate to the developed countries like US, Australia, it is around 20%. And in countries like Japan, it is roughly around 60%. So you can see the difference between India's participation and in the developed countries. Clear? Now look at this population to medal ratio. This is the right metric. Just like GDP in absolute number is not a right metric. You have to look at GDP per capita to assess where does a country stand. Similarly, medal per capita you can say, or you can say population per medal. We have to see where do we stand. In India, we have just got 6 medals in the Paris Olympics 2024. Our population is 1.45 billion. So it comes out 1 medal for every 240 million population. 1 medal in just 240 million population. Clear? Whereas you compare to countries like China, who have similar amount of population in their country, they had 91 medals. And their population per medal came down to 15 million. So big difference between India and China. Then USA won 26 medals in just 332 million. So it is just 2.6 million. Just 2.6 million. Clear? So with the same population as, or you can say India, USA is having more than 100 medals. Despite having so less population. Even countries like Brazil, Kenya, they are performing way better than India. Way better than India. Clear? So this shows where do we stand when it comes to the population per medal. So in such a huge population, in 1.4 billion, we are just having 6 medals. So this is nothing to be proud of, at least in sports. You look at the medal tally of the Paris Olympics 2024. Now USA has 126 medals, China has 91, and India is on the 71st number, 71, and with just 6 medals. Last year, I think, last Olympics in Tokyo, I think we had 7 medals and our rank were 43. From 43, we have slipped to 71st rank because there is 0 gold medal in this year's Olympics. So if you look at the progression throughout the Olympics, in 2008 Beijing Olympics, we had 3 medals. Then London Olympics, 6. It reduced to just 2 medals in the Rio Olympics 2016. In Tokyo, we had highest medal tally of 7, and then again it is reduced to 6 in Paris Olympics. So see, we can't even touch double digits when it comes to Olympic medals. Our entire focus is just on cricket. We are a cricket-centric, cricket-loving nation. However, there is some silver lining also when it comes to Paralympics. Means people who are physically disabled, when they are participating in sports, they are doing better, and more so in the recent times. If you look at the Olympics right from 2012, we had just 1 medal. 2016, we had 4 medals. But from there, it is a good jump. We had in 2020, that means Tokyo Olympics, we had Tokyo Paralympics, we had 19 medals. And in Paris, we had 29 medals. So from 2016 to 2024, our medal tally raised from 4 medal to 29 medal. So at least we are doing good in Paralympics. That is a one good silver lining within the entire sports ecosystem. Clear? Now, what are the importance of sports? Why do we actually need to play sports? It is an activity which builds nations. It promotes national pride and unity. When it comes to a cricket match between, let's say, India and Pakistan, the entire country is behind our cricket team. Clear? And the same thing we witness in games like, let's say, FIFA World Cup or Olympics. The entire nation comes behind the athletes. There are a lot of health benefits. Nothing to explain here. It reduces obesity, reduces lifestyle disease, reduces your non-communicable disease like heart, stroke, and all those things, reduces cholesterol level, keeps diabetes in check, all those things. Youth development in the form of discipline, leadership, team spirit, all these are built through sports. In school, a lot of team sports are played by the students, and a lot of friendship happens during team sports. Then you have economic potential of sports, just like your broadcasting, sponsorship, employment. The perfect example for this is IPL. A lot of young chaps, young guys, they are getting employment, they are getting good money, and their life is completely changed because of one sporting event. And then it is also a soft power, what China has projected itself. International sporting success, it enhances image of a nation. Clear? So these are some of the benefits of sports. Now, what are the challenges we are facing right now in India? What are the challenges? Weak talent identification. That means we are not able to identify talent at a younger age. For example, low Olympic participation due to lack of early stage scouting mechanism. That means you have to identify children at the age below 10 and see if they have some talent regarding any particular sports, and then nurture them in that particular sports. That is weak. That is not properly mechanized. And again, one main reason behind this is the economic security. Parents do not feel that if we put our child in sports, they will get an economic security. Then sports is not integrated into education. You do not get enough marks just on the basis of sports. Then you have resource constraints in the form of low sports budget coupled with severe fund underutilization. Even with low budget, the perfect example you can see in the movie Dangal, where he explains that how little budget is left for women wrestling. After all the money is spent in men's wrestling, other sports, then very few amount is left for women wrestling. Clear? And whatever little money is left, that is also not properly utilized. Then you have financial insecurity in the mind of parents, and then limited sports science adoption. That means technological adoption. The science behind the sports is also not very well developed or understood in India. Then your infrastructure gaps in the form of world-class facilities are not available or are unevenly concentrated in few states. And some regions lag behind and some regions are doing well in that. That's why if sports infrastructure is developed in West India, in let's say in Ahmedabad, it will boost diversification of infrastructure. Clear? There is urban-rural divide. Rural areas do not have sporting infrastructure. They have to travel to long distance or they have to stay near to the infrastructure facilities to train themselves. Then cricket dominance is one major problem in India. Media, sponsorship and funding. Almost 87% of India's sports market is taken over by cricket. And cricketers do have enough money. They get enough money for playing even the state sports. Some cricketers playing at the state level make much more money than most of the international players in other sports. And this is a sad reality. We need to diversify this also. Some funds have to be diverted from BCCI every year in the form of cess or sports development cess or sports development fees for other sports. Let's say 500,000 crores every year. That can easily be taken from BCCI. Then you have governance issue, for example, politicization of federations leading to corruption and ethical scandals. For example, the Wrestling Federation of India harassment case highlighted by Vinesh Fogart. So it was again an issue. Most of these sports federations, they are headed by not by a sports person, but by the politicians and their close ones. Then you have athlete mismanagement, lack of proper support, guidance leading to avoidable setbacks such as weight management disqualification. Again, the same thing happened with Vinesh Fogart, where in the final match of Olympics, she was disqualified. At least she could have got a silver medal, but she was denied of any medal because of disqualification. So this was an issue. Then you had other hurdles in the form of shortage of coaches, gender disparities, low private investment, and lack of awareness regarding government support. People lack awareness. Some people who are good in sports, even they do not know that government can support you. Government can financially also support you now, but they do not have awareness regarding these things. Apart from this, coaches is very important aspect. See, we had good athletes like Milkha Singh, PT Usha, and other because of good coaches. So even the coaches do not have the stability in India. They do not have financial stability. They do not have guidance for their future, what they can do in future, how much stable their job will be. So that's why good people, they do not go into the coaching side. So we lack good coaches also. Clear? Then what are the government initiatives? What is government doing? First of all, in the union budget of this year, the government budget for the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has been increased by 1,133 crores. From 3,300 crores, it has increased to 4,479 crores. So this is one good thing, where the budget for sports Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has been increased by the government. Apart from this, Khelo India has been very well focused by the government. A lot of talent, grassroots talent, they are being developed through Khelo India sports. Khelo India University Games are also happening. Khelo India normal games are also happening between states. Then infrastructure support is being created because of these Khelo India sports. Now these Khelo India sports are being developed in different states, and when they happen in a particular state, the infrastructure gets upgraded. Clear? Then you have top scheme, Target Olympic Podium Scheme. Here the potential candidates, or you can say potential athletes who have the ability to get medal in Olympics, they are trained very well. They are provided with all the facilities under this top scheme, so that their probability becomes a certainty into getting an Olympic medal. So elite athlete support program is this tops. Then you have Fit India movement in the form of promoting fitness culture, developing an overall sense of sporting nature in the country. Then you have National Sports Policy 2025. Last year National Sports Policy came out, which is also called Khelo Bharat Niti. Khelo Bharat Niti 2025. In this, sports as a career option has been focused. More emphasis is given on sports along with the education. Use of AI, data analytics, and emerging technologies for performance tracking and enhancing the performance of athletes have been included in this policy. Now all this AI, data management, and tracking of you can say data through various sensors and other things, all this has been integrated into National Sports Policy. But we still have to see how government works on this. On paper the policy looks fine, but its implementation has to be equally good. Only then we can excel in sports. Then you have National Sports Development Fund. Now this is the exact fund from where the reports of diversion of money have surfaced. From this fund, 6 crore have been taken out for bureaucratic recreation and club activities. So this fund offers financial assistance for training, infrastructure, athlete welfare through public-private partnership. Clear? Then you have Khelo India Rising Talent Identification, that is Kirti's program. Here 9 to 18-year-old children in their teenage, basically they are identified, and again they are nurtured well. If a person is having some talent regarding any sports, they are nurtured, they are sent to a particular place for training. Government looks after their finance, their support, their education, all is taken care by government under this Kirti program. Clear? So these are some of the major sports initiatives taken by the government. Apart from this, creating new infrastructure, creating new facilities, trying to host the Commonwealth Games and the Olympics Games, all these things are going on. Even the states like Haryana, they have sports being a state policy, state subject. States like Haryana, they reward very well to someone who gets an Olympic medal. For example, for gold medal, they are giving 6 crore rupees, for silver 4 crore, and for bronze 2 crore rupees. Just check these number once. I am not exactly sure, but most probably these are the numbers. Now, what are the emerging opportunities in sports in India? First is private leagues. On the line of IPL, you have a lot of leagues. Pro Kabaddi League became very famous. You have ISL in the Football League. You have similarly the Pro Volleyball League, the second edition of Pro Volleyball League a couple of years ago. It became a success. So a lot of private leagues are coming in, where you have private players, private sponsors, businessmen. They do their advertisement through these leagues, and overall it is good for the sporting infrastructure of the country. Okay. Basically you are professionalizing the sports in India. Then digital and media growth. Along with YouTube, increased visibility, the money which these players are getting will also increase with time. If the visibility is high for a particular sporting event, more and more advertisers will come there, more and more sponsors will come there. Then you have young demographic dividend. See, majority of India's population, of the 1.4 billion population, they are less than the age of 35. Or you can say more than 40% are less than the age of 25. The median age also of India is somewhere 27, 29. That shows that we have a large young population that can be diverted towards sports and they can be used very well. Clear? So we are very large talent pool. And then comes the hosting global events. They are again an opportunity to create infrastructure, to gain soft power for our country, to gain more revenue out of these events. So they again are an opportunity. Let's see how our Indian government taps these opportunities. Do we get the opportunity to bid the Commonwealth Games first? And if we successfully bid those Commonwealth Games, we can then go for the Olympics in 2036. Clear? Now what needs to be done? Despite the government support, government efforts, government programs and schemes running on, there are still a lot of challenges which we see in the sports, which can clearly be seen by the medal tally which we have in Olympics. Apart from cricket and few sports here and there, we are not excelling too much in majority of the sports. So what needs to be done? We have to bring a grassroots revolution where sports has to be an integral part of the school curriculum, not just one-off activities. A lot of schools nowadays, what they are having just 1 or 2 sports period in the entire week. In the entire week, you are having just 1 or 2 sports period. Now this has to be changed. Sports has to be part of the school curriculum in everyday sense. Then you have governance reforms in the form of transparency in federations. The politicization of federations has to be reduced. It has to be headed mostly by the sports persons who have experience of that particular sports, who know the nitty-gritties of that sports, who can understand the pain of an athlete. They have to head these federations. Then sports science integration. See, now it's not merely about hard work, it's also about smart work. So in sports also you have to do smart work. You have to understand the data, the technicalities of data. You have to integrate AI, data patterns, sensors into your sports to understand the sports science, how they are working, AI, analytics, nutritional sports. India also lacks in nutrition. A lot of our diet is vegetarian, which is comparatively not, if you can say, it is equal or less superior than the non-veg diet which foreign athletes are taking. Now, a lot of people do say that the vegetarian diets, is equally good as compared to the non-veg diet. But I have doubt over these issues. Generally, your non-veg diets are better, nutritious, and better, you can say, protein and vitamin providing as compared to the vegetarian diet. So this is also a cultural or religious issue in India, where a lot of athletes, they do not eat non-veg food. Then public-private partnership has to be increased. Corporate investment into sports has to come. Now this is coming, for example, the Birla Group, which has recently purchased the Gujarat Titans team in IPL. Similarly, Goenka Group has your Lucknow team. Ambanis have the Mumbai team. So a lot of similar lines, a lot of corporates, their investment has to come in other sports also. Then you have women and inclusive sports has to be promoted with equal opportunities given to women, and not only to women but to the people of rural areas also. The urban-rural divide in the infrastructure for sports has also to be bridged. Para-athlete support, though it is one of the few things which are doing really well, it has to be increased because the number of para-athletes in India is still very low as compared to the population of persons with physical disabilities. And then one state, one sport policy has to be brought in. Now see what happens, understand. People from Haryana, Punjab, they are good in boxing, wrestling, hockey. So why not create this Northwest India as a hub for these sports? People from Northeast India, they are good in weightlifting, they are good in football. Why not create it as a hub for weightlifting, gymnastics, these things? People from South India, they are good in athletics, they are good in long jump, high jump, triple jump, athletics, races. Why not develop it as a hub for these particular sports? So you have to find out which area is good in which sports and then push for that. Within India, within a large country, we can have small 20, 30 small countries within India. Why don't you excel in one sports? Every state can pick up a particular sports. They can create infrastructure for that particular sports, the world's best infrastructure. And then top class athletes can come out from there. For example, Hyderabad, Bangalore, they have become hub for badminton. ठीक है. Your Punjab, Haryana has become a hub for hockey. Similarly, your Odisha is becoming a hub for hockey. Now, small areas can now be developed in this sense, where one state, one sports policy can be implemented. Region-specific sports have to be promoted. Clear? So these were some of the way forwards. What more can be done into the sports? Apart from this, I have already told you that some more funds can be diverted from BCCI also for the development of other sports. See what is happening. States are creating more and more cricket stadiums. We already have more than 30 international cricket stadiums in India, but still states are creating more international stadiums. Noida is having one more cricket stadium. We have in Delhi, we have in Lucknow, we have in Kanpur. Still more international cricket stadiums are being created. Why don't you create a proper football stadium in India? Do we have any proper football stadium? No. All we have, athletic stadium. In between that, we play football. Develop world-class infrastructure for other sports also. We have just 2025 Olympic size, or you can say Olympic accredited swimming pools in India. Just 2025. So these things need to be changed. We have to promote infrastructure for other sports also. Now for you, practice this question, discuss the major challenges in developing a robust sports ecosystem in India. Now the question asks only about the challenges, but you have to write what government is doing, what way for all these things you have to write in this answer. Clear? Coming to the next topic, it is regarding judicial pendency and backlog of cases. Now, to tackle the mounting judicial pendency crisis within the Indian judiciary system, the government has expanded the strength of Supreme Court bench from 33 earlier to 37 now. So, presently, we'll be having 38 judges in Supreme Court, 37 normal judge and 1 Chief Justice of India. Clear? Now, why it is in news, what has happened? The top court currently has a backlog of 93,000 cases just in Supreme Court, which is threatened to reach 6 figures, more than 1 lakh in some days. It will reach as the net addition of cases are being done. That means more cases are coming to Supreme Court, then they are able to dispose of in that particular time. That leads to higher pendency. It will cross 1 lakh soon. So the Constitution under Article 124 clause 1, it says that Supreme Court consists of Chief Justice of India and not more than 7 judges until Parliament by law prescribes a larger number. So basically, Constitution according to Article 124 says that Supreme Court will have 1 Chief Justice of India and 7 judges. This was the originally what Constitution said, and Constitution also said that it depends upon Parliament. If they want to increase the strength of Supreme Court judges, they can increase. So by the Supreme Court Number of Judges Act 1956, for the first time it was enacted, and the maximum number of judges excluding CJI was increased to 10. That means 1 Chief Justice of India and 10. The strength was increased to 11 by the 1956 Act for the first time. And thereon subsequently the number of judges in Supreme Court has been constantly increased, and today it stands at 37 plus your Chief Justice of India. Clear? Now, why this step was taken by the President, why this ordinance, and later on it will be passed by the Parliament? What was the need of this? Because of the pending cases. Now look at this data. This is Supreme Court of India, and already roughly 90 to 93,000 cases are pending in Supreme Court of India as of April 2026. Now all this data is of April 2026. Clear? In high courts, you have 64 lakh cases. 64 lakh cases are pending in high courts. And the main issue comes at district and subordinate courts. Here, around almost 5 crore, 4.9 crore cases are pending. So look at the severity of pendency of cases. 93,000 in Supreme Court, around 4.9 crores in district courts, and in high courts you have 64 lakh. Within this, your Allahabad High Court has highest pendency of cases of roughly around 12 lakhs. Out of the 64 lakh, just one court, Allahabad High Court of UP, has 12 lakh pendency of cases. Now, Allahabad High Court has also blamed the state government and its policies for pendency of cases in the court. Now, these things do happen a lot of time. The judiciary sometimes blames government that you are not providing enough support staff and infrastructure for the judges to work. At the same time, the government sometimes blames judges that you are not working efficiently enough to clear the pendency of cases. This keeps on happening. Basically, the Allahabad High Court bench says that many young and committed judicial officers, they are unable to function effectively because of severe staff shortage, lack of police cooperation in executing summons and warrants, and delay in forensic reports. These are some of the accusations done by judiciary over the government, that because of these reasons there is pendency of cases. We do not have enough infrastructure. So That's why we cannot dispose the cases. But see, I'll tell you one thing, which is you can have your own common sense in that. Most of the profession, they do not have any particular break in their job. If you become a civil servant tomorrow, if you become IS, IPS, you will work for the entire year. Let's say you will have offs on weekend when the government offices are closed. But in judiciary, they have summer holidays. They have winter holidays. Now, the judges say we require these holidays because we have a lot of mental pressure while solving the cases. Who does not have mental pressure in their job? A civil servant looking after the entire district, what do you think? He is not having any mental pressure on him? The politicians who are working 24/7 for their elections, and let's say the government ministers, don't they have pressure on their head? Everybody has. But I personally couldn't understand why judges say this argument that we have a lot of mental pressure, for that we require break. And this is also one reason cited by a lot of people, that they go on a break despite having so much pendency. Although some other benches do come during breaks, but if the normal judges, they continue during a particular time, they will be more effective. So this is also one reason why there is high pendency of cases in courts. Now, a lot of cases are pending for more than 5 years. Some cases are pending even for more than 10, 20, 25 years. So this is the issue. Pendency goes for a long time. Now, what happens? What are the main reasons for judiciary pendency? First is judicial vacancies. Now, around 30% of the sanctioned posts in high courts and 20% in subordinate court, they remain vacant. Although the strength of Supreme Court is full, whatever the sanctioned number, all the judges are there, they are functioning. But in high courts and subordinate courts, 30% and 20% of the vacancies are still not filled. So this is one major argument, that you do not have enough judges to function. You have not filled up the vacancy. This is like, in the terms of government, it was government's duty to fill up these vacancies. So they have not done. Then appointments under Article 124 and 217 are often delayed due to procedural bottlenecks. Then you have complex and outdated procedures. Outdated civil laws, they retain procedural complexities, causing adjournments, lengthy trials, and delays. Although government is working, they are getting rid of a lot of old laws which are very complex and which are not in tune with the modern day. But still, the legal system which is there in India, it is a bit complex. It is not even easy for a layman to understand. They always require a lawyer to understand what is written in a summon on a warrant or a court judgment. So it leads to complexity and lengthy judgments, lengthy trials. Then you have a high number of government litigations. Government itself is a party to a lot of litigation. See what happens. Government is the biggest litigant in India. Almost 50% of all cases, as per the 126th Law Commission report, are by the government. Let's say government is doing some tax fraud case on an individual. Government is doing some GST fraud case on a company. These type of cases, a lot of cases are from government side only. Increasing pendency through routine appeals. And once, let's say, let's take the example of the excise policy case of Delhi government, where the CBI is against, or ED is against Arvind Kejriwal. Now, the lower court dismissed the appeal of the government and said that Arvind Kejriwal has not done anything wrong and he should be completely free. Now the CBI and ED, they are appealing in the High Court against this order. So see, government is the litigant here. They are again and again appealing. Let's say in the High Court also, if they lose, they'll appeal in the Supreme Court. So government is the major litigant in most of the cases, 50% of the cases. So they increase the number of cases. Then inefficient case management, that means absence of proper case listing, prioritization, digital case tracking, judicial time management, it worsens backlog. Basically, we need proper management of cases. Right now, though, it is a time for integration of technology. A lot of these prioritization, proper listing, they can be done with the help of AI. Proper technological integration has to be done into the entire court system. Then you have infrastructure deficit, shortage of courtrooms, lack of digital records, limited technological support were highlighted by Justice Ramachandran Committee 2018. Now, when you write these committees, Supreme Court judgment, these reports by Law Commission, they provide value to your answer. They will fetch you extra marks, so make sure you write these things. Now, there are frequent adjournments. Once adjournment happens in a case because of any reason, let's say sometime the opponent doesn't come, sometime one person doesn't come, sometime witness doesn't come, and adjournment is given on that case, and then they get date for 2-3 months forward. So it again creates lengthy trials. In MS Shiv Cortex versus Tirgonotoplast case, the Supreme Court criticized the routine grant of adjournment, observing that it leads to undue delay and miscarriage of justice. That means process becomes the punishment. प्रोसेस इतना लंबा खींच दो कि इंसान चक्कर लगा लगा के तारीख पे तारीख करके दुखी हो जाए. सो व्हाट सन्नी देओल इन दैट मूवी सेड, तारीख पे तारीख, दिस इज द सेम थिंग कि process has become the punishment. And then under trials and criminal pendency. Under trials constitute 75% of the entire prison population as per the National Crime Reports Bureau report. Now, what are under trials? Who have not been given punishment, whose trial is going on in the court, but they are in the jail. Let's say they have spent 2-3 years in jail, and then the court says that they are completely free, they have not done anything, they are acquitted from the crime, they are set free. But who will compensate for the 2-3 years that person has spent in jail without doing anything? So 75% of the people in jail, they are not guilty till now. They are just suspects right now. They are accused and suspect. They are not guilty. So that has to be reduced. If quick disposal of cases will happen, this under trial population will decrease from the jails. Clear? Now these are some of the reasons of judicial pendency, and we'll see what are the impacts of it. See, access to justice. Delayed justice is denial of rights. It is very well said by Supreme Court that justice delayed is justice denied. That right to life also constitutes your right to speedy trial. So if you delay the process becomes punishment. So it is not a proper, you can say, rights which people get. That is not their right is to get speedy trial. So it impacts access to justice. A lot of people lose trust in justice because of the process. Then under trial crisis. Because of this, a large prison population is there. Under trials, it violates Article 21, right to life of a person. Somebody who has not committed a crime, their case is going so long that he has to spend his life in jail. Then economic impacts are there. Contract enforcement delays happen. Largely because of this, a lot of FDI investment does not come to India. That this says that if our company goes into any litigation or any court case, the case will go on so long that it will have an economic impact on our business. It will reduce investor confidence. Then your social impact in the form of family disputes, they are prolonged. Family system is disrupted. Victim trauma increased because of the case. Then you have erosion of trust. This is one of the major issues. Declining public confidence in judiciary. Because nowadays everybody knows that nobody wants to go to the court in the first instance because they know the case will go for too long. So these are the issues. What are the constitutional and legal perspective in this regard? Article 21, right to life, says right to speedy trial is part of right to life and liberty. So right to speedy trial has to be given to everybody. It is part of your fundamental rights. Then there are important judgments in the form of Husnaira Khartoum case, Husnaira Khartoum versus State of VR, where the court said that speedy trial is recognized as fundamental right. It was recognized in this case, Husnaira Khartoum case. Then Malimat Committee. Malimat Committee recommended reforms in criminal justice system. Malimat Committee was for entire criminal justice system. This criminal justice system includes your judiciary, prisons, and police. So they suggested various reforms in all the domains, and they said one of the reforms you have to completely reform the entire criminal justice system so that the pendency reduces. Clear? Now, what are the steps taken to address this pendency by the government and the courts? Let's see some of the steps. Now, first is your legislative and procedural reforms. Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Samhita. The old CRPC has been replaced by Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Samhita. It replaces CRPC, enforces time-bound investigation, limits adjournments, introduces e-FIR and e-summons so that the process becomes seamless. The investigations happen in a time-bound manner and there are less adjournments. These are the major issues. If they are tackled, then things will be improving. Enacted in 2023, it empowers digitization and speeds up criminal justice delivery. Then you have Gram Nyayalaya Act 2008, establishing village-level courts for faster access to justice in rural areas. Gram Nyayalaya. Similarly, you have family courts, you have Gram Nyayalaya, you have Nagar Panchayats, to solve cases on a smaller level quickly. Then your National Mission for Justice Delivery and Legal Reforms in 2011, which aims to reduce delay, improve case flow, and promote institutional and alternate dispute resolution. But I think these 2 points are enough in this particular point, legislative and procedural reforms. Then comes the institutional innovation. what the institution of court is doing innovation in the ground. Fast track and special courts have been established. Focused courts for heinous crimes, for example, rape, corruption, POXO. POXO is sexual harassment of children. In these cases, you have fast track and special courts which can quickly dispose of the case. For example, your MOJ report 2023 says that over 1100 fast track courts are operational in India right now. Okay? Over 1100 fast track courts are there. Then your alternate dispute resolution. It can be in the form of you can say lok adalats, mediation to reduce court burden, often amicably settling the cases. In Patel Engineering case, Supreme Court held pre-litigation mediation in commercial cases. Basically, ADR says that before coming to court, you do mediation once. You do conciliation, mediation, arbitration, either on your own through your lawyers or through a third-party mediator. Basically, if you can solve the case outside the court, why need to come to the court? Things can be solved outside the court amicably. So this is alternate dispute resolution mechanism. Now, online alternate dispute resolution mechanism is also being promoted by the courts and government. Then you have e-court mission mode project in the technological intervention section. E-court mission mode, where enabling e-filing of cases, digital summons, video hearing. Now, let's say a lot of prisoners, they do not have to be taken to the court. They can do video call from prison into the court. National Judicial Data Grid for pendency tracking. A judicial data grid has been created which keeps track of all the pendency of cases and tells the courts and judges that which cases are pending for how long, and proper, you can say, data analytics is being applied here. Then you have National Judicial Data Grid, where publicly accessible dashboard for real-time pendency and disposal tracking across Indian courts has been done. Even the transparency has been increased and public has been allowed to look at the disposal of cases, how frequently they are happening, how quickly they are being done. Then in the judicial monitoring and case laws, what is being done? Your Supreme Court directions on adjournments. Basically, directions to discourage frequent adjournments and ensure discipline in trial scheduling. That means you should not adjourn a case if there is no substantial point. For small issues, you cannot dismiss a particular adjourn a particular case, and once adjournment happens, people get 3-4 months date after that. In Shiv Cortex versus Trigonotoplast case, Supreme Court criticized undue adjournments. Clear? And then suo motu intervention by Supreme Court. Suo motu means on their own, without any complaint by somebody else. Supreme Court proactively addresses chronic pendency and disposal delays in PILs and criminal matters. That means Supreme Court itself also take care that pendency reduces. However, the number suggests something else. Clear? Now, what can be the way forward? What needs to be done to reduce this pendency of cases? First is filling judicial vacancies, filling judicial vacancies expeditiously, both in high courts and lower courts. Clear? Implement timeline for collegium and government for the appointment process. See, if you are aware of the appointment process, let's say in High Court and Supreme Court, there is a collegium system which recommends judges and then government appoints. That has to be speeded up. A time frame has to be put to that. Then procedural reforms in the form of amending CPC, CRPC to discourage adjournments, introduce stricter case management framework on the lines of Madimat committee recommendations. Now, a lot of these things government is trying to do, but their better implementation is required, not just on paper. Government litigation reform. This is one of the major reforms. Implement national litigation policy proposed in 2010 to ensure minimum appeal and responsible litigation by the government. That in some countries, what government does, if the case is of very little amount, government does not appeal or they does not litigate. They let go of, because they know that more infrastructure will be eaten up in solving that case where you will not get enough fine or money. Clear? And strengthening lower judiciary infrastructure, basically at the district court where the infrastructure is very poor, a lot of facilities, courtrooms, digital record rooms, they have to be provided at that place. Higher budgetary allocation, only 0.08% of GDP currently spent on judiciary. Need of courts, technology and manpower. Then expanding e-courts and virtual hearing. Basically AI-based cause list management can be created, and it is being used as a pilot project in Delhi High Court. AI-based court management, case management list. Okay, then you have a robust unilateral reforms in the form of adopting Justice Chandrachud's bail not jail directive. Follows the spirit of Supreme Court's guidelines on under trials in Hossein Khartoum versus State of Bihar case. Basically, Chandrachud sir, he was CGI of India, ex-CGI, he said that bail should be the norm and not jail. So bail, not jail should be the norm. That you try to give bail to people and do not put them as under trial in prisons. Clear? Then promoting alternate dispute resolution and mediation through pre-litigation mediation. A Mediation Act of 2023 was also brought in to improve alternate dispute resolution, and online also this is being done. Clear? Then best practices from different states. For example, Gujarat's evening court, Telangana's paperless court model. These have to be replicated throughout the country. Whatever any high court is doing good, it has to be replicated in other states also. Clear? So these are some of the way forwards. Now it is your duty to write this answer that examine the cause of judicial delays in India and suggest reforms to ensure speedy justice. Coming to the prelims pointer section, the first topic is regarding an environment species, Hoolock gibbons. Now what happened recently, I'll tell you the context. There is a sanctuary in Assam called your Hoolock Gibbon Sanctuary in Jorhat district of Assam. There a male Hoolock gibbon, he was electrocuted by the railway lines. So after their death, these artificial, you can say artificial bridges have been created over the railway lines for the protection of these ape species. Now Western Hoolock gibbons using artificial canopy bridge over the railway line. So they are in news. Assam Sulungapar Gibbon Sanctuary in Jorhat recently offering cautious optimism for the survival of India's only ape species. Now these Hoolock gibbons are the only ape species found in India. Apes are not same as monkeys. So there is some differences we will see in the subsequent slides. In India, you have only one ape species, that is your Hoolock gibbon. And they are found in all the northeastern states and not anywhere else. These they are spread across all 7 northeastern states. Their habitat is tropical evergreen and semi-evergreen forest. The species found in India are generally Western Hoolock and Eastern Hoolock gibbon. Although both are in northeast, western and eastern, but recently the scientists have discovered new genus of these Hoolock gibbons at Mishmi Hill Hoolock gibbons. In the Mishmi Hill areas, these Hoolock gibbons have been found. They are genetically different from eastern and western Hoolock gibbons. So a third type of Hoolock gibbons have been recently discovered and they have been classified. They are arboreal, that means they live on trees. They are diurnal, diurnal means active during the daytime. They don't have any tail and they are known for loud calls, loud duet calls. Basically, they mate with their partner, they sit with their partner, and both the partners, male and female Hoolock gibbon, they sing loud songs. Kafi romantic type ke hain log. And their IUCN conservation is endangered for the Western Hoolock gibbons and vulnerable for the Eastern Hoolock gibbons. Now these Hoolock gibbons largely they prefer 3-tier canopies, that means very dense forest, evergreen, semi-evergreen. Their scientific name is Bunopithecus hoolock. Now you can have just one look over this or you may leave also. What are their major threats? Habitat loss, zoom cultivation and poaching by the illegal poaching, basically by the poachers. These are some of the threats. Now they are protected under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. Their major threats are using habitat destruction, deforestation, hunting, zoom cultivation, all these things. Now what are the important protected areas? Your Hoolock Gibbon Wildlife Sanctuary in Jorhat, Assam. It is somewhere here. Hoolock Gibbon Wildlife Sanctuary in Jorhat, Assam. It is a specific wildlife sanctuary named after these gibbons. That's why it is famous. Now what happens in this area? Here you have your Eastern Hoolock gibbons. In the rest of the state, you have Western Hoolock gibbons. Clear? So east and west, entire in the northeast. Understand this thing. Here Eastern Hoolock gibbons, here Western Hoolock gibbons. Somewhere here you have Mishmi Hills. And Mishmi Hill Hoolock gibbons have been found here. So here you have Mishmi Hill Hoolock gibbons found in this place. Clear? So these are some of the 3 areas where Hoolock gibbons are found in India. They are the only ape species in India, that's why they are important. Now apes and humans, they had similar ancestry, if you can say, millions of years ago. Millions of years ago, they had similar ancestry. Then some genes developed into humans and some developed into apes. Your chimpanzee, gibbons, orangutan, all these are apes. Now what is the difference between an ape and a monkey? These are branchiaceans. That means they move from hand to hand, from one branch to another branch. And monkeys, they leap, they jump from one branch to another branch. They have larger brain, the apes. The monkeys have smaller brain. They have broad chest and bigger shoulder joints and flexible shoulder joints also. That's why they can stand on 2 legs and move like this. Whereas the monkeys have narrow chest and smaller shoulder joints. That's why they need 4 limbs to walk, just like dogs. Clear? They do not have any tail, they have a tail, and mostly walk using 4 limbs, and they can walk on 2 legs. The apes, just like humans, they can walk on 2 legs. So this is a major difference between ape and a monkey. What you have to remember here for the exam perspective, it is a monkey species. No, this is an ape species. This is not a monkey species. They are different. They are found in Western Ghats. These are wrong. Western Hoolock Gibbons are also found in Northeast India. ये याद रखना. Western does not mean Western Ghats. It is entirely Northeast India. They have a long tail. No, this is wrong. They don't have a tail. Apes do not have any tail. Found only outside India. Only is an extreme statement, which is wrong here. Lives mainly on ground. No, again, this is wrong. They are arboreal. That means living on trees. Clear? So this you have to remember here for Hoolock Gibbons. Coming to the next topic, it is regarding government schemes. The Jal Jeevan project of the government. It is a flagship government program mission to basically showcase rural tap water scheme. Center's main program for providing tap water connection to all the rural households by 2024, which has already gone. So up start ho gaya Jal Jeevan Mission 2 up to 2028. Let's see if everybody gets tap water by 2028. Otherwise, there will be Jal Jeevan Mission 3 for up to 2032. We'll see its implementation. Now, Jal Jeevan Mission is important. It was launched on 15th August 2019, roughly 6-7 years ago. It was led by Ministry of Jal Shakti, which is the nodal agency in this case, nodal ministry. Objective is to provide functional household tap connection to every rural household by 2024. Since it was not met as in most of the cases in India, we had Jal Jeevan Mission 2 extending its final implementation timeline from 2024 to December 2028. Clear? The target is Har Ghar Jal, or the government also gave a tagline Har Ghar Nal Se Jal. That means tap water connection in every house. Safe and adequate drinking water will be provided. How much water? 55 liters of water per person per day. That means if it is a family of 4, they will be getting 220 liters of water per day. Clear? And they will be getting water of highest standard of BIS quality. The quality checks will also be there in water, whether it is clean or not. Then what are the key components of Jal Jeevan Mission? Your source sustainability, that from whatever source you are taking the water, it should be sustainable, be it groundwater or surface water. Both components are included. Grey water management. What is grey water? Grey water is the wastewater generated from the house, except the fecal waste. That means wastewater generated from your sink, from your house cleaning and other activities, bathing, except the, you can say from toilet. The fecal waste is not included in grey water. So the grey water has to be again reused by treating it. Water quality monitoring, and then your rainwater harvesting as one of the important components here. Now what are the other components? You have to provide tap water supply to 19 crore households. Basically, this was the target in the original Jal Jeevan Mission, that we have to provide tap water connection to 19 crore households. It is a bottom-up planning where community engagement happens at the local level. There are local committees created at the local level which will decide how the implementation will happen. So bottom-up approach. Women empowerment. Who is responsible for carrying water these days? The woman. If every household will have tap water connection, the woman's work to go to a long distance and fetch water from there will be reduced. Women empowerment will happen. They are also included in planning and decision making. Then focus on future generations. Provision of tap water supply to schools will be given, to tribal hostels, Anganwadis. These tap water connections will be given. Skill development will happen. Skill development to create employment and generation local people for skill maintenance of these also. Then you have grey water management. We have seen recycling, source sustainability, water quality monitoring. All these are the major components of Jal Jeevan Mission. Now, what are the special focus areas? Water stressed region, where the groundwater table is reduced, or where they do not have surface water resources, where the water availability is very less. Then you have arsenic and fluoride affected areas, where the groundwater is affected by arsenic and fluoride contamination. Now people cannot draw out groundwater because of these issues. Now they need a water connection from the government somehow. Then you have SC/ST habitations to improve the tribal life. How it will be implemented? Through village water and sanitation committees. These committees are also called Pani Samitis. Village water and sanitation committees, also called Pani Samitis at the local level. They will include somewhere around 10 to 15 members. These members will be from self-help group, Asha workers, Anganwadi teachers, etc. So local level participation along with women will be there. And in these 10-15, half will be women. Half will be women. Jal Jeevan Mission focuses on integrated demand and supply side management of water at the local level. That means you manage your demand and supply at the local level. It's a bottom-up program. Nature of the scheme is centrally sponsored. That means both center and state give 50-50 of the funding. 50-50 funding. Clear? For some special states, Himalayan states, the center gives 90%, state gives 10%. What is the constitutional angle? Drinking water is a state subject under the 7th schedule. So it is the primary responsibility of the states to implement these programs well. And similar initiatives in urban areas is Amrut, Atal Mission for Rejuvenation of and Urban Transformation. One component under this Amrut mission is of drinking water and tap water connection. And that means that all urban areas should also have tap water connections. What you have to remember here, the exam traps can be, the scheme was launched before 2014. This is wrong. It was launched in 2019. Applies mainly to urban areas. No, it applies to rural areas. Implemented Ministry of Rural Development. Again wrong. It is Ministry of Jal Shakti. Then no role of local community. Again, this is wrong. Pani Samitis have been created at local level, which are also called Village Water and Sanitation Committees. Only infrastructure creation and no water quality component within this scheme. Again, this is wrong. Water quality component is also there. Water has to be up to the BIS standard. Clear? So these can be some of the exam traps here. Coming to the third topic, it is regarding the Chola era copper plates, which our PM, now he has gone to Netherlands for a visit after basically saying that people should stop foreign visits. But now they will be bringing back some artifacts from one of the universities of Netherlands, which belong to the India, the medieval India. Now see what happened. These are the Chola era copper plates. Now this is the return of Chola era Anai Mangalam copper plate. It charters from the Netherlands. Basically this Anai Mangalam copper plate, this was a copper plate. These are basically a set of 21 copper plates weighing up to 30 kgs and within a ring, a bronze ring, which is stamp of Chola Empire also. The stamp of Chola Empire. Now these plates, they have records of that time of Chola Empire. If at some place they are given tax exemption, they are given land grants, they have, some other decree has been passed by the king. So they contain those records. So they help in reconstructing the ancient medieval history of India. So that's why these plates are important in that purpose. Now what happened? The artifact, which has been in possession of Leiden University of Netherlands, which you can say explorer from Dutch explorer. He took these plates in 18th century to Netherlands, and right from I think 1860, this university is having these copper plates. Now they are returning back to India after almost 2 centuries. Okay, so they are also known as Leiden copper plates because they are situated in the Leiden University of Netherlands. These plates recorded Rajaraja Chola I's gift of land at Anai Mangalam village. Basically, Rajaraja I, he gifted this Anai Mangalam village, the land here, to construct Buddhist vihara. This vihara was created by Indonesian kings. In that particular, so that also shows the relation between India and Indonesia at that time. It also shows the trade relations were also there at that time. Clear? So this land was given for Buddhist vihara, basically Buddhist monastery and monks. While Rajaraja Chola I gave the order of building the Buddhist vihara, it was the son Rajendra Chola I in the year this who implemented the command. This is mentioned in the larger Leiden plate. Basically, this plate mentioned that in this Anai Mangalam village, the land was given by Rajaraja I, but his son Rajendra I implemented his orders. It was written in these plates. And the Leiden copper plates are a complete set of 21 large plates and 3 small plates. The large plates are committed to written by Rajendra Chola I in 5 Sanskrit plates and 16 Tamil plates. So in 2 languages these plates are, in Sanskrit and Tamil, honoring the father Rajaraja's oral commitment. Clear? So we'll read about the Chola Dynasty in this prelims pointer. You have to understand the Cholas because they were very big empire at that time. So earlier what happened? We had earlier Cholas who were documented in the Sangam age or the Sangam literature from 600 BC to 300 CE. Suddenly then they disappeared for a long time and they reappeared as imperial Cholas and flourished during 9th and 13th century. So there was a dynasty which was there in 600 BC up to 300 CE, then they disappeared and they again reappeared as a big empire, imperial Cholas, in the 9th century onwards. So it was a major dynasty of South India, the Tamil region. This was their region of dominance. Clear? The capital was Thanjavur and later on Gangaikonda Cholapuram. So this is Thanjavur, this is Gangaikonda Cholapuram. These two were the capitals of the Chola Empire. Earlier Thanjavur, then shifted to Gangaikonda Cholapuram. It was founded by Vijayalaya Chola in 850 to 870. Founded by Vijayalaya in 850, and he ruled for the next 20 years. Later on, who were the most important rulers of this time? Raja Chola I and his son Rajendra Chola I, from 985 to 1014 and 1014 to 1044, 30 years Rajendra Chola ruled there. Now what you have to understand, at that time also they had their strategic availability at Andaman Nicobar ports. So right now, if the government is going through Great Nicobar project and taking control of the Great Nicobar infrastructure and creating a terminal there, and you can say military infrastructure, the same was earlier done by the Cholas. At that time also they had control over the trade of state of Malacca. At once what happened, here you have Sri Vijay Empire, which was ruled by a ruler who said that we will not allow trade to pass through, Indian trade to pass through state of Malacca. But then the navies of India, they went right up to that place and they conquered the Indonesian region to have trade with the South Asia. Basically, these Cholas had trade with South Asia, South China, and they passed through the state of Malacca. Clear? So this was the area, the entire this Bay of Bengal or the Indian Ocean, it was called Chola Lake, to show the dominance and the naval superiority of the Chola Empire. Clear? So this Indian Ocean was at that time called Chola Lake. Administration was well developed. There was local self-government. There was king at the top. There was a proper hierarchical structure. King had monarchy. Then at villages, your local self-government, village assemblies in the form of Ur, Sabha and Nagaram, which used to take their own decisions. So a third-tier structure of India right now, the village panchayats and the urban municipalities, they are inspired by these Ur, Sabhas and Nagarams of the Chola Empire. Clear? Now they had a strong military power. They had very strong navy through which they conquered the entire Southeast Asia. They controlled Sri Lanka also. They controlled Indonesia also. There were expeditions to Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia. Then their economy were agriculture based and advanced irrigation facilities were there. Active maritime trade was there, not only with the entire Southeast Asia, Sri Lanka, but right up to South China. The temple architecture, they've built some famous Dravidian style temples. For example, Brihadeshwar temple. This is Brihadeshwar temple. It is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This Brihadeshwar temple. It is one of the largest Viman. The height of this temple is one of the largest. Then in art and architecture, you have bronze sculpture of Nataraj, the dancing image of Shiv in the picture of Nataraj, that was also created in their time. They have a lot of Tamil literature patronage. Tamil literature is also written in this time. Then these copper plate inscriptions, temple inscriptions along with other sources are some of the major sources from where we get information. Who conquered this place? Who was ruling here? What were the tax practices there? To whom this land was given? All these information are taken from these inscripted plates. Clear? Now what you need to remember here, Cholas lacked naval power. No, they had very strong naval power. Okay? Brihadeshwar temple was built by Pallavas. No, it was built by Cholas, Brihadeshwar temple. Then Sabha was urban merchant guild. This is wrong. Sabha was rural merchant guild. Then Chola architecture followed Nagar style. No, they followed Dravidian style. Dravidian style of temple architecture. Clear? Then Cholas had no link with Southeast Asia. This is again wrong. They had very good trade and other relations with the Southeast Asian nations. They had personal relations also with the Southeast Asian nations. Clear? Coming to the next topic, it is regarding drug trafficking. Now what happens recently, the India-Myanmar drug syndicate kingpin has been arrested in Delhi by Narcotics Bureau. Basically these traffickers, they are operating along the Myanmar, Mizoram, Manipur, Assam, Tripura corridors. Basically the porous borders of Northeast India, they operate through there. The terrain is so difficult that we cannot border it easily, and there are dense forests. These traffickers, smugglers, they take advantage of that topography and they smuggle a lot of drugs in India. A major international supplier of methamphetamine and heroin operating from Myanmar. Okay? So these are synthetic drugs which are being transported to India these days. So what two main things you have to understand here, one is golden crescent and golden triangle. However, the name golden is glorifying. These are the major drug producing regions in both sides of India. We have such a beautiful geography that on both sides drugs are being produced on both sides of India, and then they are being smuggled to India from here and from here. Clear? So what government has done that recently the Ministry of Home Affairs, they renamed the golden triangle as death triangle and golden crescent as death crescent to strip glamour and warn youth of the drug's fatal impact. So now we call it as death crescent and this is a death triangle. Clear? As per the Ministry of Home Affairs terminologies. Now golden triangle, if you see this area, it is a tri-border Mekong area of Myanmar, Laos and Thailand. Remember these countries, Myanmar, Thailand and Laos. Now Cambodia and Vietnam are not part of it. Clear? Myanmar, Laos and Thailand. Myanmar has a long border with India and this is a entirely porous border. So they do traffic a lot of drugs in India. They are major opium and heroin producing regions. The geographical features like mountainous, remote terrain, which are difficult for law enforcement agencies to monitor. Then Indian connection, it affects India's northeastern region. A lot of drug trafficking happens from there. Recent trends, what is happening? Myanmar's Shan state, it dominates synthetic methamphetamine drug. It is a synthetic drug, methamphetamine drug production. It is also called meth in short form. It is a powerful, highly addictive central nervous system stimulant. Basically, it stimulates the central nervous system and the person loses his consciousness for a long time. These are synthetic drugs. They are taken either in the powdered form or in crystal form or through the injections therein. So these are produced in the Myanmar in large quantity, in Myanmar's Shan state, and then transported or trafficked to India. So this is your golden triangle, remember this. Then comes the golden crescent on the other side of India. These are the border areas of Southwest Asia consisting of Afghanistan, Pakistan and Iran. Now India is not part of it. This is Iran, Afghanistan and Pakistan. Now Afghanistan has been a hub of opium production from long time. One of the world's largest illicit opium producing region. There are some estimates which suggest that 80% of world's opium is produced in this region, Golden Crescent. 80% of world's opium. The Taliban government, they are gaining a lot of money from this opium production. What are the key countries? Afghanistan historically has been a major opium producer due to prolonged warfare, Taliban-linked insurgencies and weakened governance. Because of instability in Afghanistan for such a long duration, they are one of the largest producers. Because instability के अंदर ही these kind of activities thrive. These organized crimes, they thrived during the times of instability. Again, Indian connection, they traffic drug in India through Punjab, Rajasthan and Gujarat routes. And nowadays, they are even using drones to smuggle these drugs. There are narco trafficking linked, this is linked with terror financing and organized crimes. A lot of terrorist organizations, they are gaining money from this drug trafficking. They are gaining money and then they are using this money against our Indian people for the killing of Indian people. So whosoever consumes these drugs in urban areas, a lot of young people, they are indirectly funding the terrorists. Clear? So India has been caught between Death Crescent and Death Triangle. Now what you have to remember here, Death Triangle is located in West Asia. This is wrong. Death Triangle is in East Asia, basically Myanmar, Thailand and your Laos. Clear? Myanmar, Thailand and your Myanmar, Laos and Thailand. India is part of Golden Crescent. Wrong, India is not part of it. Both regions mainly produce cocaine. This is again wrong. They produce a lot of opium, poppy and synthetic drugs. Golden Crescent includes Myanmar. This is wrong. It is Golden Triangle which includes Myanmar. Drug trade linked only to health issue, not security. This is wrong. It is linked to terror finance. Clear? Thailand is part of Golden Crescent. Wrong. Thailand is part of Golden Triangle or the Death Triangle. Clear? This you have to remember for exam perspective. Coming to the last prelims point of the day, it is regarding the Ebola outbreak in Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. A lot of people died in that country, along with some cases in Uganda also, of the new Ebola virus. See, this is a new strain of Ebola virus for which we do not have any vacancy right now, and it is very fatal. So 300 suspected cases and 88 deaths. very recently. The current outbreak, first confirmed on Friday, is caused by Bundibugyo virus. This Bundibugyo virus, this is a new strain of Ebola, which is a rare variant of the Ebola disease that has no approved therapeutics and vaccine. So if somebody is infected, only precautionary measures can be taken or the old vaccines can be tried, but it is not easily cured. Okay. So what do you have to remember? Ebola outbreak recently happened in Democratic Republic of Congo. But is this now more than 65 deaths? There are a lot of estimated Ebola. More than 50,000 deaths have been happened by this Ebola virus, different strains of this Ebola virus in Africa. Right now, this outbreak is happening here in Democratic Republic of Congo along with Uganda. It is basically a lot of deaths are happening. What you basically have to remember here is the outbreak, it is caused by Ebola virus, not by any bacteria or something else. It is viral hemorrhagic fever with high fatality rate. High fatality rate, that means a lot of people will die who will get this Ebola virus. See, in COVID, what happened? The fatality rate was low. The transmission rate was very high, that people can easily get infected, but fatality rate was low. Out of 100, 1-2 people were dying. But here, the fatality rate reaches up to 40-50%. That means the transmission is not as high, but whosoever gets transmitted, there are high chances of them being died. Clear? So affected countries are your Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC and Uganda. This is the 17th Ebola virus outbreak in these countries. 17th. The transmission happens with coming in contact with the infected bodily fluid. The bodily fluid can be anything. It can be your tears, sweat, blood, semen, or anything else. Clear? Animal to human transmission is possible. Bats are considered to be suspected reservoir. This is a zoonotic disease, Ebola virus, started by the bats. From bats, it transmitted to humans, and then then it is being transmitted to other humans also. The symptoms are fever, bleeding, weakness, organ failure. Basically, your hemorrhagic fever means where your tissue failure happens. Tissue failure starting to happen, the cells or the tissues, starts to break, and the body dysfunctions. Clear? It was first identified in 1976 on the bank of Ebola river in Democratic Republic of Congo. There is a Congo river which is very famous in DRC. Its tributary is Ebola river. On the bank of this Ebola river, first time the case was found in 1976. Because of that, the name comes Ebola virus. The major concerns are high mortality, weak health infrastructure in African countries. These are least developed countries. They do not have enough infrastructure to fight these viruses. Clear? Now, WHO's role, it coordinates outbreak response. Right now, WHO has said that it is a public emergency in these countries, but they have not warned other countries. Basically, WHO said that you do not have to close the international travel right now. But WHO is constantly watching regarding these outbreaks. WHO also provide funding and technical know-how, the doctors also, for controlling the transmission. The vaccine, normally Ebola virus vaccines are available. For example, your RVSV, Zibo vaccine for Ebola, and supportive treatments are critical. But in this case, this particular strain, the vaccines are not available for the new variant, the Bundibugyo virus strain. For this particular virus, vaccines are not available. What are the challenges in Congo? You have conflict zones, a lot of fighting through Boko Haram terrorists is also going on. Poor healthcare access and infrastructure is there. Misinformation is also there. A lot of misinformation because of social media. Then public health importance. This is an example of zoonotic disease outbreak. So we have to take responsibility of our, you can say, natural habitats where a lot of animals live. If we start intruding into their space, a lot of zoonotic disease will be spread to humans also. See what happens in Ebola virus case. The virus comes into the human cell, it enters into the cell, then this virus genetic content are released into the cell, it opens, multiple cells are created, then multiple copies of cells are created, and then new copies of the virus are produced and they released back into the system. Clear? So it spreads into the body and it eats up the entire body. Now see, this is the map of Congo. This is the Congo river coming like this. Now here, this is Ebola river. This is Ebola river, one of the tributaries of Congo. On bank of it in 1976, for the first time Ebola virus was detected. So what more you can remember? This is the region where this outbreak has been happened. ठीक है, this is I think three region of Congo where this outbreak is happening. You have Uganda on its border, you have Rwanda and other countries, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, Malawi, Angola. These are all the bordering countries of Congo. Clear? Then you have South Sudan in here you have South Sudan. Then Republic of Congo is a separate country. Democratic Republic of Congo is a separate country. Clear? And then Angola. Here, these are some of the neighboring countries of Congo. Congo also have a your port here. So it is not a landlocked country. It has connection with the port. So what do you have to remember? Ebola is a bacterial disease. Wrong. It is a viral disease caused by virus. Spreads mainly through air like measles. No, it spread through body fluids. Ebola is first identified in Asia. No, Africa. There is no vaccine exists for Ebola. If it is a general statement, there is a vaccine for Ebola, but for specific strains, right now the strain which is going on for which the outbreak has happened, for that we do not have vaccine. Now WHO has no role in outbreak management. This is again wrong. WHO has role in outbreak management. WHO do funding also, they inform other countries also, and they provide healthcare support also. Clear? So remember these things. That's it for today, guys. Make sure you write your answers, and all the best for your prelims.